Have you ever looked at a friend and felt that quiet shift inside you? That moment when friendship starts to feel like something more, and suddenly everything feels fragile, because the real fear isn't rejection. It's losing the connection you already have. Take a breath with me for a second. This isn't about tricks. This isn't about changing who you are. And it's definitely not about pushing feelings onto someone who hasn't chosen them. What we're really talking about today is something deeper and healthier. We're talking about how emotional energy changes when two people begin to see each other differently. And the first truth you need to hear is this: attraction doesn't begin with words. It begins with how safe someone feels around you emotionally. Most friendships stay friendships because they're predictable. Same jokes, same tone, same emotional distance. Nothing wrong with that, but nothing new grows there either. If you want a connection to evolve without damaging trust, you don't start by confessing feelings out of nowhere. You start by becoming more emotionally present. That means when she talks, you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're listening for what matters to her. Not the surface story, but the feeling underneath it. When someone feels seen, really seen, something changes inside them. And here's the part people miss. You don't create emotional impact by being intense. You create it by being grounded. Confidence doesn't sound loud. It sounds calm. When you stop trying to impress and start being honest about how you experience life, you become emotionally real. Not dramatic, not mysterious, real, and real is rare. Another shift happens when you stop treating her like a category friend and start treating her like a person with inner depth. That means you don't rush to fix her problems. You don't compete for attention. You don't try to prove value. You hold space. You say things like, "That sounds important to you," or "I never thought about it that way." Those moments build emotional tension, not in a romantic way, but in a human way, a sense of connection that didn't exist before. And that's where the transformation begins. Now, let's be very clear about a healthy boundary. You are not responsible for her feelings, and she is not responsible for yours. Your job is not to make her choose you. Your job is to show up as someone who respects himself and respects her. Sometimes the biggest shift happens when you stop over-functioning in the friendship. You don't text out of anxiety. You don't over-explain. You don't chase emotional reassurance. You stay steady. That steadiness creates contrast, and contrast creates awareness. She starts noticing how you respond differently, how you're more present, how your energy feels calmer, how conversations feel deeper. Not because you changed the relationship, but because you changed yourself inside it. This is the emotional foundation, not desire, not persuasion, connection. If there is something more possible between you, it grows from this place, from emotional safety, from mutual respect, from shared depth. And if there isn't, you haven't lost a friend, you've gained clarity, and clarity is always better than confusion. Because real connection doesn't begin when someone is convinced. It begins when someone feels understood. So ask yourself this quietly. Are you trying to create attraction, or are you creating emotional presence? And which one do you think actually lasts? There's a moment in every meaningful connection where the energy changes, not because someone said something dramatic, but because someone finally showed who they really are. And this is where those 3 minutes everyone talks about actually live, not in a line, not in a move, but in a shift of emotional honesty. Imagine this: you're sitting with her, the conversation slows down, there's space between words. Most people rush to fill that space. They joke, they distract, they keep everything light so nothing feels risky. But emotional depth doesn't grow in noise, it grows in stillness. So instead of performing, you become reflective. You say something true about yourself, not heavy, not dramatic, just real. "I've been thinking about how important trust is to me lately," or "I've realized I don't open up easily, but I'm trying to change that." These are not romantic statements, they're human ones. And something subtle happens when you speak from that place. You stop being a role in her life and start becoming a presence. Now here's the psychological part most people misunderstand. Men and women often connect emotionally in different rhythms. Not better, not worse, just different. Many men bond through shared activity. Many women bond through shared emotion. So when you allow yourself to name how things feel, instead of just what's happening, you meet her in a language she already understands. But this only works if it's not forced. You're not trying to sound deep, you're letting depth come out naturally, and then you listen. Not with the goal of replying, with the goal of understanding. If she shares something personal, you don't analyze it, you don't correct it, you don't minimize it, you reflect it. That sounds like it mattered to you. I didn't know that about you. That must have taken courage to say. Those sentences don't create attraction, they create safety. And safety is the doorway to any deeper bond. Now here's a very important truth most people avoid. If you feel something more, it's healthy to acknowledge it internally. But it's immature to dump it emotionally. You don't suddenly say, "I've always had feelings for you," with no emotional context. That puts pressure on the connection, and pressure breaks trust. Instead, you let the relationship breathe into a new tone. More intentional presence, more grounded energy, more emotional awareness. You stop hiding behind the friend label and start being a man who knows himself. Not someone waiting for permission, not someone afraid of losing approval, just someone emotionally awake. And this changes how you speak, how you sit, how you respond. Not because you're acting differently, but because you're being more honest with yourself. And here's the healthy outcome. Whichever way it goes, if she feels the same shift, the connection naturally deepens. If she doesn't, you haven't crossed a boundary, you haven't broken trust, you haven't lost dignity, you've simply discovered where the truth is. And truth, even when it's quiet, is always safer than fantasy. So the real 3 minutes isn't about making her feel something. It's about letting yourself be emotionally visible. That takes courage. And courage is always attractive because it's rooted in self-respect. Ask yourself this: are you trying to change how she feels, or are you brave enough to change how honestly you show up? Because one is control, and the other is connection. There's another layer to this that people rarely talk about. And it's not about what you say, it's about what you stop doing. Sometimes attraction doesn't grow because of something missing. It grows because something unnecessary is removed. When you're stuck in a friendship that secretly wants to be more, your energy often becomes cautious. You choose words carefully, you avoid certain topics, you shrink your truth to protect the bond. And that shrinking doesn't feel safe to the other person. It feels uncertain. One of the healthiest shifts you can make is this: you stop trying to be emotionally convenient. You don't disappear. You don't become distant. You simply become more centered in yourself. You speak clearly. You respond thoughtfully. You don't rush emotional closeness out of fear of losing it. And here's why that matters psychologically. Trust is built when someone feels you are stable inside yourself, not reactive, not needy, not performative. When your emotional state doesn't depend on her reaction, she feels free to be herself around you. That freedom is powerful. It tells her, "I'm safe to explore how I feel without being responsible for how you feel." And that's how respect grows. Another important shift happens in how you see her. You stop putting her on a pedestal, not by lowering her value, but by raising your own. You don't treat her like a prize. You treat her like an equal human being with complexity. That means you don't agree just to agree. You don't hide your perspective to avoid tension. You don't turn every conversation into emotional service. You allow difference, and difference creates depth. When you can say, "I see it differently," without aggression, without withdrawal, you show emotional maturity. And maturity changes how people relate to you. There's also something very important about timing. Healthy emotional shifts happen in moments of calm connection. Not during stress, not during conflict, not during crisis. If she's overwhelmed, you don't push depth, you offer presence. If she's relaxed and open, you allow more honesty. You don't force meaning into moments, you let meaning reveal itself. And one more thing that matters more than people realize: your life outside the friendship. When your world is full, your energy inside the connection is different. You don't lean emotionally, you don't cling, you don't wait, you share. And sharing is attractive because it's not asking for something back. It's simply offering who you are. When you talk about your goals, your struggles, your growth, not to impress, but to express, you invite her into your inner world and invitation feels very different from pressure. Here's a quiet truth. Sometimes a friend doesn't see you differently because you haven't seen yourself differently yet. If you see yourself as just the friend, your behavior reflects that. If you see yourself as a man who values emotional depth, honesty, and connection, your presence reflects that instead. And people respond to presence before they respond to words. So this is not about creating a moment. It's about creating a tone of respect, a tone of steadiness, a tone of emotional courage. And from that tone, a different kind of connection becomes possible. Not because you changed her, but because you became more aligned with yourself. And alignment is always noticeable, even when nothing is said. So think about this gently. Are you protecting the friendship by hiding parts of yourself, or are you honoring it by becoming more real inside it? There's a quiet moment that arrives when you stop trying to manage outcomes and start trusting the process of connection. This is where emotional maturity shows itself, not in bold statements, not in dramatic gestures, but in your ability to stay honest without being heavy, clear without being forceful, open without being demanding. Because the healthiest shift from friendship to something deeper doesn't feel like a push. It feels like a natural widening of space. You speak with intention. You listen with curiosity. You show appreciation without expectation. And here's the most important part. You allow the other person to choose. That's respect. You don't corner someone emotionally. You don't rush clarity. You don't ask for reassurance you haven't earned. You let your behavior speak for your values. Consistency, presence, emotional steadiness. Those are not tactics. They are character. And character is what people trust when emotions get involved. There's also something powerful about naming what matters to you, without naming what you want. You can say, I've realized connection means more to me than I used to think, or I value honesty in the people close to me. These are not requests, they're windows. And when you open windows instead of making demands, the other person decides how far to step in. That's how safety stays intact. Now let's talk about acceptance, because it's the part most people skip. If the connection grows, you meet it with calm curiosity. If it doesn't, you meet that with dignity. You don't punish someone for not feeling what you feel. You don't retreat into bitterness. You don't rewrite the friendship as a mistake. You simply let truth settle. And when you can do that, something incredible happens inside you. You stop defining yourself by whether someone chooses you, and start defining yourself by how you show up. That's emotional leadership. It's the difference between needing validation and offering presence, between waiting for permission and living with integrity. And this is where real growth happens, because every connection teaches you something about yourself, how you communicate, how you handle uncertainty, how you deal with vulnerability. Even when nothing changes externally, something changes internally, and that's not failure, that's progress. So when people ask, how do I change the dynamic without ruining the friendship? The real answer is, you don't try to change the dynamic. You change how consciously you participate in it. You become more honest, more grounded, more emotionally awake. And whatever the relationship becomes, it becomes from a healthy place, not from fear, not from pressure, not from fantasy, but from mutual awareness. That's the only kind of connection that lasts, whether it becomes deeper or stays as it is. You walk away knowing you didn't hide, you didn't manipulate, you didn't pretend. You showed up as yourself with respect. And that is something no outcome can take from you. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Are you trying to protect a connection by staying silent, or are you ready to honor it by becoming more real inside it? If this message spoke to you, leave your thoughts in the comments. Someone else may need your perspective. And if you believe in healthier relationships, emotional growth, and honest connection, like this episode, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who might need to hear this today.